Okay, here's one. One argument for, the pagans not getting so involved is that we are more outside the norms of society, that we are non-conformist. But a lot of people on the left and the extreme right are very much like that themselves. Yet they still get a voice in on the national conversations. I think it's fair to say that that British pagans have a role of being different in our thinking in various different respects. But Lady Sif, leave her alone. That does, again, I'm just reading stuff, and I've said elsewhere that I'm not expecting all or even most pagans to be on the left. But as a pagan who is on the left, why can't our voices be heard as well? It's not about conforming. It's about, I'm not a conformist in any. Look at me. How am I conformist? What do I conform to? Not much. Fuck all, really. So I'm not going to take being, accused of any hypocrisy here. Just because, our political views are broad. To be honest, you could say that about many different groups. You can find Christians and Muslims that are both on the right and the left, and in the centre, and those that don't give a flying fuck either way. So I'm not sure that's a really a necessary point to give. There's also an argument to say that we're rather contrarian, so ask us if we like vanilla or chocolate ice cream, we say we like strawberry. But that's not this. That's again, in of itself, that's absolutist and generalist. Well, I'm not sure about absolutist, but it's very generalist, and takes into no account of the individuality that the same people just described. So yes, we are as pagans. We've not been that involved. Does that mean we always has to be the same? There's plenty of pushback. Whenever we've tried to push for, the legalization of our rights, or say of marriage and stuff, do you know where most of the pushback has come from? The Christian conservatives. That's where most of the pushback comes from. Whenever we try to push our voices, that's one of the reasons why I have a major problem. Because I feel that they are against us as well as everyone else. And they have targeted us. The problem for pagans is the last time we started getting into the national conversation, which was about 10 years ago, there was so much ridicule that whilst we did manage to open up somewhat, we kind of decided, it's still not right for us. We still feared it. You still feel it. I don't hear, you know, people from British pagans, from British pagan perspectives talking about anything that goes on in this country, and it's likely to be affecting them too. British pagans could very well have ideas about, and this isn't from a religious, again, I'm going to reiterate something I've said before in many videos. This isn't necessarily about the religion in and of itself, the faith in of itself. It's about the culture and the way of thinking because of that culture. That's why I think we should have that we not just that we have a right to have a say, but that we actually have something to say. It's likely that there are a great many of us that have something to contribute. Yes, we can be very contrarian. Yes, we are non-conformist most of the time. That doesn't mean we don't have a right to be heard. Doesn't mean we shouldn't be heard. Doesn't. Not only that, but it doesn't mean we aren't a part of British society. We're on the outskirts. We're not on the outside of it. We aren't actually on the outside of it because we're on this island. We have to interact with other people, so we are. As much as we can try to tell ourselves that we're not part of this society, the fact is that we are. Whether or not we contribute into all aspects of that society, you know, that's individualistic as far as I'm concerned. That's where, you know, a more detailed look at things is necessary. You can't just be generalistic all the time in your thinking and your points of view, because it leads to ignorance. You need to become more involved again. Can't be the only one who's thinking this. I know there are many pagans out there that don't give a fuck, and that's fair enough. I'm not going to argue against that. If you don't care, fine, don't care. Just don't bitch at me when I do care. I'm not bitching at people who don't care. I'm bitching at people who say they don't want to care through fear or through a sort of arrogance. It's a bit ridiculous. I'm not speaking for all pagans, I'm speaking for myself. But as a pagan, on the left, I've had enough of sitting silently and just trying to convey my views to people around me who don't quite understand, because they don't see through my point, because they don't see through that framework necessarily. No, it's the same with me trying to understand them, with the people around me that I talk to. Putting my thoughts on here means that anyone else who has a similar viewpoint can, you know, that you're not alone. We are coming into a new era. Christianity is on the decline culturally and religiously. A void will be filled, not by us, but then a void will open because of that. Could we fill that void? Potentially. The problem is we aren't monotheistic. So getting on with monotheistic cultures is a bit of a problem, as it has proven historically. But again, this isn't history, this is now. So let's see what we can do moving forwards. As pagans looking forwards, not looking backwards, constantly, and only looking backwards. It's good to look backwards, but it's good to also look at now and ahead. And we can become a part of this society and still stay on the outside or on the outskirts. This is possible because we are, as the Christians would put it, a broad church, a broad group of people. There are a bunch of us that will never join in. There are a bunch of us who will, and a bunch of us in the middle who are either way or neither. So but we can join in now. We don't need to be afraid. And it's possible, and likely even, that our contrarian and outside perspective points of view could possibly help to contribute towards our society, to moving our society forwards. Anyone ever thought of that? Let's try, shall we? Let's just try. Let's see. I hope this, makes sense to someone, but you can only fight against everyone for a certain amount of time, and we don't need to. Not only that, but we can only hide for a certain amount of time, and again, we don't need to. Just my individual point of view, and again, those pagans who are like me, or in any way similar to me, come forward, join in. This is a good thing. But I'm not in any way saying that we all need to join in. That in of itself is absolutist, and I vehemently am against that. It's also conformist, and I won't have that. But if you want to come and join me on this, come ahead. This isn't a crusade or anything. This is just a movement to get us back into the public sphere alongside, on equal terms with everyone else. That's all it's about. Góðan daginn, góða dag, har en god dag, blessaður sé. This has been Shadow Victor.